Hello, party people. So, it's safe to say, Genshin Impact is probably more than halfway, slightly more than halfway finished. As in, this story will end, and hopefully some Genshin Impact 1 stuff will carry over to Genshin Impact 2. That's a different video. I haven't decided if I would play actively a Genshin Impact 2. Of course, it probably will be a gacha game too, so that is it's definitely something I'm concerned about. But I'm not saying I would be free to play because, like, to me, you're not getting the optimal like experience of the game. Yes, I understand it's gambling. Yes, I understand that's why I might like it. But if you're a low spender, like nobody cares. I feel like just do. It's your game. Do whatever you want to do with it. It's your account. Um, Without going into too much detail, over the past week, I have gathered all my C6 characters. I intentionally C6'd. So some of the standard banners ones don't count, but I'll get to them eventually, maybe. But like my philosophy is, or it became, if I'm spending all this money and time on C6ing certain characters, shouldn't their talents be triple crown too? And then like I started going through some resin. I started at about 80 resin, right? Um, fragile resin, and I think whatever the one when you open the map and you could use. Then after all was said and done, I have about 5 crowns left and like 35 resin left. Um, I might have gotten a little carried away, but like essentially those C6 characters and whatever non triple crown 4 stars there are as supports. I have enough characters to make 5 star teams, entire 5 star teams. So I'm it. I used up a large supply of my Mora, which isn't a big deal because I don't think it's that hard to get more if you do the those things. The blue thing for experience and the yellow thing for gold. Um, I don't think it's that hard. So the last character I triple crowned with the resources I have so far was Eula. Um, I'm going into too much specific detail now. We get it later, but my Ayato is the only C6 character I have left, not including Standard Banner. The only C6 character I intentionally C6, as in I went from C0 to C6 on them. And for those that don't know, that can get relatively expensive. I'm not gonna say how much because if you're really interested, fucking look this game up. But the reason why I say this game is almost halfway over, it is halfway over. Pyro Archon and Cryo Archon, and I guess you could say Celestia, the last, supposed to be the last area. I don't know. Um, so if we figure into that there's only 2 Archons left, and it's patch 4.5, and when they're like that would mean there's the patch would go to 6.0, 7.0, and it's 4.5. 4.5 times 2 is 9. There's not gonna. I don't think there's gonna be a 9.0, but there might be. Um, a lot of people do not have much faith in it. An actual fun and productive end game will be in this game. Towards the end, of course, that's why I call it end game. Um, but right now, I think this is a good time for everyone's made a tier list about Genshin characters. I'm gonna make my tier list. This tier list is gonna be a little different because I am biased. I have some prejudice towards certain characters, and obviously the ones I invested a lot of time and money in, I like the most. Or I convinced myself to like them the most because I used up so much resources trying to get them. Okay, so right now we're gonna try to make me like that. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, so Obviously, Aether and Looming don't count, but hey, whatever. We're putting Looming there. Nobody likes Aether, so yeah, I'll put Aether there too. Looming's ranks higher than him. So Jean, one of the standard banner characters I was talking about that I I didn't intentionally see. It's just that I went through 50-50 so much that I got a lot of the standard banner characters, the 5-star ones particularly. So Jean got a boost recently, right? Because I forget which character she vibed with, but I used to play Jean back in the day. Like she was one of my better 5-stars. This is way early game, and she had a higher ranking before, and that's mainly because there weren't any other characters out that could fit like sort of the hybrid DPS and healer build that she sort of had. So I'm putting Jean. I'll put Jean at C, like just because of the changing times, and that she hasn't become obsolete. It's just that there's so many other better characters, and I say that like it's a problem, but I guess it's not a problem. It's a good problem to have, maybe. Uh, Lisa. Do I have to say anything else? Amber. So Lisa's animations are way too slow, and Amber's attack power is like non-existent. Noelle, I actually like Noelle. So we're getting the 4 stars now, but I'm just going in order of this tier list because it relatively goes in the same order as the time the characters were released. So these early characters are like what 1.0 or something. When you consider that Mondstadt was the Anemo nation, the Wind nation, and it was just a prologue. I want you to think about that. 2.0 was Geo and Liu, but that was in chapter 1. Prologue, Anemo was prologue, chapter 1 technically. And I don't think people realize how daunting that is or was with the vastness of the game, a free to play game. Yes, it's a gotcha game, but a free to play game. You don't. Okay, Mtash said it best, right? Mtash said there's no content in this game that you need to have multiple C6 5-stars for. You don't need it. Will it make your experience more enjoyable and better? I mean, easier? Probably. That's the whole point. But the point being is that you could just run national team. Xingqiu, Jingling, and Bennett, and basically anybody else. And that's basically one Abyss team right there. My Abyss team is ridiculous. Like, it is borderline illegal. Like my 2 Abyss teams should not be the way they are, but they are. Barbara, I use Barbara a lot in obviously early game again. Um, with Barbara, I'm gonna go. Okay. Here's the thing about Barbara, right? The reason I like her so much, she's the only true healer in the game. And what do I mean by that? She's the only character where there's no AoE, there's no stipulation to the healing. You press Barbara's elemental burst on PlayStation's triangle. You press triangle, everybody gets healed. The entire party gets healed. There's no other character that can do that easily. I understand it's a burst, so she's gonna need a lot of energy recharge, but like the healing is massive too. It's like 66% of their max HP or something like that. So I'm gonna put Barbara in B tier because that's, like I said, I'm biased about this. Um, Sucrose, I'm putting in C tier. In my opinion, she's a bootleg Venti. I feel like she's a budget Venti, and I, I mean, a lot of these characters I did friendship, but at level 10. But I mean, I wasn't impressed. Like, were there some characters I just threw on a fucking team because I needed to friendship them? Of course. Did I really play them? I mean, I switch out to them every once in a while. So I also have a soft spot for official. I'm putting official at B because, like, back in the day, physical damage official was actually a thing. Like, official carried me through a lot of difficult parts of the game. Mona, animation's way too fucking slow. Kaya, I didn't play a lot with Kaya, but I'm thinking B or C tier. I'm gonna go with B because a lot of people will rightly criticize that, or encourage that his constellations are really good, and like C0 Kaya is nothing compared to C6 Kaya. C6 Kaya is like, I will make a borderline 5 star. You heard me say that. C6 Kaya is borderline 5 star. Diluc, my very first 5 star, and he was my main DPS, of course. And I just I'm sorry, like the damage output he can do, the outfit that you can buy from him, the costume, the attitude, the voice actor. I I was gonna put him in tier A tier, but he's he's such like a pillar of my character list. Like he's like the foundation of early game. This is what I think. Razor, I never really played that much with Razor. I did like his burst. It's kind of cool. You don't see that many bursts like that except for someone from Sumer. I can't remember who. I'm putting him in C tier. Uh, Let me put it. There's nothing special about him. I like his character. The voice acting is good. There's just nothing play wise. There's nothing. He doesn't bring anything new to the table. That's all I'm saying. Bennett. Okay, I'm not putting Bennett in S tier. Let me explain you why. If I had to choose between C6 Bennett or C6 Zhongli, I know that's kind of a weird comparison. I'll pick Zhongli every single fucking time. And I understand Bennett is great now. I understand some people will not C6 him, blah blah blah. Then the solution to that is you just pair him up with pyro characters. It's not that hard to figure out. But I understand if other people want to use the other elements, whatever. Um, Ningguang, I used her a lot, but I I just couldn't build her the way I wanted to, and it just wasn't working out. But she's a decent character. For some people, she might be a lot better. Beto, I'm gonna put. So I was questioning B tier or C tier. I'm gonna go with B tier. You know why? Beto is the only character in the game that has a counterattack. So get this right. You press the elemental skill, in this case of PlayStation R2, and you hold it, and when she is attacked by something, she counterattacks. And as far as I know, there's no other character in the game that can do that. And I wish they made more characters like that. Maybe they will, but why does only she have that counterattack ability? I never understood that. Kaching, again another standard banner 5 star that I eventually will C6 when I get another fucking 15 crowns or something. I'm down to like 5 crowns right now. I went from about 20. I don't know. It was like 25 crowns or something ridiculous. And I like I said, I crowned all the C6 characters. I intentionally C6 triple crown them, even if it didn't make sense to triple crown them. Like maybe some of them just deserve a double crown. You know what? I don't treat my characters like that. I treat my characters well, and they take care of them. I take care of them. They take care of me. That's all I gotta say. Kaching, I'm gonna put Kaching in B tier. Especially in early game, she's a pretty solid DPS. You put Jade Cutter on her, Black Sword. Like, she's very versatile. Okay, Zhenling. Okay. So let me explain this, right? Zhengli has some sort of quote unquote bug that makes her do a ridiculous amount of damage with, I believe it is her burst. And the fact that you can change to other characters and keep the burst on, even off Zhengling, it transfers to the change character. You can even change back, and the burst is still there. In terms of pyro application, at that time we never saw anything like that. That was never in the game like that. And in my opinion, she was the first character to have an AoE that, in terms of burst damage, did the amount of damage it does and still be an AoE. I understand it's an orbit thing, but like, if you're close to enemies, how are they not gonna get hit by it? Are they gonna dodge it? No, of course not. Changyun, his character, his story is interesting, but like I just I can't do that. I got no, it's not working out. Xingqiu, you know what? I'm gonna do that, and I'll explain you why. In my opinion, Xingqiu is the weakest national team member. Um, I've been told his swords from his burst heal, but it is very insignificant healing in my opinion. Maybe I just built him wrong. I have no idea. But he just didn't do it for me. I found he's a good support character, but I sort of wish he was more DPS like Jiangling. Um, I don't know. Okay, Chi Chi, right? Another 5-star I will eventually see Triple Crown, who is already C6, of course. Again, those fucking 50/50s, man. So I'm gonna put Chi Chi at C tier, and I want to let you know why. I will make the comparison that Barbara and Chi Chi are very different healers, but they have their kits are slightly different, and that's a good thing. It's just that Chi Chi ended up having the weaker kit. Now, Chi Chi has this, I believe it's either a passive or the ultimate skill where she can revive every single party member on your team. So it's basically 3 revives, right? Um, that's not as good as Barbara's party healing though. I just don't think it is. Like if Chi died and then she resurrected the whole team, like that you got wiped, that would be good. But as far as I know, that doesn't happen. Venti. So back in the early game, right? Venti was fucking. He was like sucrose on steroids, man. Like Venti is. He's he needs a buff. Venti needs a buff. Um, the problem with Venti, why he's not an S tier but he's an A tier. Venti, he he sucks up the monsters, right? Like in a tornado, you can't lift heavy monsters up, and I feel like that was kind of a mistake that was overlooked. I thought there was a lot of potential in that. Like, imagine lifting up a rune guard into that fucking tornado of like hilichurls, but that that's not the way it played out. Unfortunately, I think it's just due that maybe the game was still developing and several changes were made and changes were expected to be made, but they just some things just didn't happen. Klee at the time, again, early game, she was really good. Um, but I agree that with the many people who have said this, uh, Klee is very clunky. Um, she's not fast. Like everything she does is like there's an animation to it that takes a little bit too long. And in a game very much emphasizing speed, like you can't be moving around that slow just to attack. I mean, she still slaps. You can still build her to like a ridiculous DPS, but I I didn't. I think I have her as C0, C1 at best. Tartaglia. All right. So Tartaglia, aka Child, um, he goes in A tier, and I'm gonna tell you why. A lot of people might call him B tier. I call him A tier. I call Tartaglia A tier because he's perennial. Like, if you look at some of the leaderboards, people are still using Tartaglia, and it might not be the majority, but he's a very reliable and consistent DPS with a kit that you really don't see on other characters. For crying out loud, he can use a spear and 2 daggers in one fucking hand, like and the bow. So he's a melee and a long range attacker. His bow skills kind of suck, yes, but it's nice to have options. That's all I'll say about that. I did not see 6 Tartaglia. I sort of regret that, but you know, I still made it this far. Okay, Diona. Why in the fuck am I putting Diona in A tier? I'll tell you why. She's not as good a healer as Barbara, but Diona is, as far as I know, someone who can apply a cryo shield or just a shield in general relatively quickly. And when you put on top of that, she has AoE healing. Like, you just have to stand in a fucking circle. Like, oh, like, don't get me wrong, I don't attack with her. I don't. The only time I use her is when I need a shield or healing. But I feel like, again, she's very reliable. The sacrificial bow helps a lot. Um, but anyway, we're spending way too much time on the forces. There's so many fucking 4 stars. Zhongli, Zhongli, C6 Zhongli. What can I say that I haven't already said about him through this entire fucking game with all this fucking content that I got from it? I am forever grateful for Genshin Impact for providing me with so much content. Um, at C6, Zhongli can heal. What do I mean by that? You apply the shield to them. Whatever damage you take that doesn't break the shield converts to life for you. So you can literally bring Zhongli, make the shield, and then switch to a character that's almost dying and just let them get hit, and they will get healed. You don't even have to let them get hit. You can just do your auto attack on that character, and just do some damage and just heal them up. You can't do that with any other character. That is why Zhongli's an Archon. That's why he's the best defensive character in the game. Can you build Zhongli to be both defense and a DPS? Some people would say yes. I think it's like that. I feel like it's a very iffy situation with that. I feel like that's asking a lot of him, and he can't carry a team on offense alone. It's just not gonna happen. Yes, his burst is amazing. He's the only character that can paralyze enemies, like turn them into stone, and that ability you don't see with anyone else. Jinyan, um, yeah, I gotta put on D tier. I mean, like, a lot of people hate on her, and her her animations are just, I don't know what to call them. They're like weird, and she just doesn't do enough damage, which kind of defeats the purpose of making her a claymore user. Because the claymore is a two-handed weapon, and it's two-handed because it should be doing the most damage. Yes, it is slow, but I mean, why isn't Jin Yan as good as Diluc? Why isn't he as good as Jingling? I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out. Uh, Albedo. I never got into Albedo. I understand it's a very good geo support. Even applier application. Um, I I never got into him, and I think he's coming up on the next banner, next maybe couple banner rotations. But as far as I know, right now, this video was made on Friday night. Because this is the most exciting do thing on Friday night. On Tuesday, the I believe the finalized banners for 4.5 are coming out. We'll get to that though. Albedo in general is just a very confusing character for me. Like, I don't really know what his purpose is, and I really don't know the best way to build him. He's only on like C0, C1 for me, so I'm not too worried about it. Ganyu. Ganyu is in beginning game, in mid game, and probably in end game. She's one of the best offensive characters. She even has a couple defensive stuff, and no one was expecting her to be as powerful as she is. Ganyu is something else, guys. I mean, I I don't even know how to explain how she does so much damage. And it's her multipliers must be ridiculous. I triple crown Ganyu. Um I'm trying to see who else I triple crown that I might not have mentioned. I think right now it's just the S tier. I triple crowned all of them are C6. Those 3 characters right now. I think I might have triple crowned Bennett's Burst, but I don't remember. Um, yeah, I don't really have any 4 stars that have any crowns. I reserve that for the 5 stars because, in my opinion, they're 5 stars for a reason. Does that rule affect the entire game? No, of course not. There's some good 4 stars out there, but if I'm gonna invest in the many meanings of the word invest into C6 5 star characters, I'm gonna triple crown them. That's all there is to it. I'm saving enough crowns so that I can do triple crown Pyro Archon, who is, I think, coming up next. Before I forget, the last Archon I believe is the Cryo Nation of which is Shnazaya. I don't know. I can't remember. The Archon that I believe is the, if you remember the cinematic, it's the old guy at the head of the table, and all the harbingers are like, they serve him, and I believe that is who the Cryo Archon is. I have no proof of this. This is not a leak. This is just my speculation. Whereas the Pyro Archon is just gonna be a completely different character. It would just be a new character in my opinion. Zhao, one of the Yakshas. I had to spend a long time thinking about, is Zhao S tier? I have him triple crowned. He's C6. He's one of the few characters out there that's R5. His Jade Spear. I just don't know. Cause like he needs more. He's good enough right now, but he just needs some other thing that makes him unique. That is very, very helpful. Because at the time, the plunging damage, that thing, we'd never seen anything like that. It's not like now with Jinyuan and Gaming. Like, look how long it took in the game to get another character to even consider plunging damage. Look, it took like 3 or 4 fucking patches, man. That's all I'm saying. Hu Tao, some people would call her S tier. I call her A tier. I think I have her at like C2, C3. I may C6 her at some point. But it's mainly because she's Pyro. And she is a HP sacrificing character. A lot of the characters in Fontaine are like that. Why they only introduced Hu Tao to do that is weird. I think they were just last minute changes. I think that was not a popular part of her kit because, yes, with less HP, she does more damage. And I will say that her C6, where she turns into Super Saiyan mode, that is pretty cool. That you do not see that with any other character either. Rosaria. I'll put Rosaria in B tier. She's very reliable, consistent, and if you're free to play or even a low spender, she's a pretty good character to build around. She is only a 4 star, but in my opinion, it's relatively easy to get her when she's on a banner, and she doesn't require that much investment. I forget what her best in slot spear is, but polearm. But I mean, she's very versatile, so I don't think she even needs the best in slot. If you guys remember correctly, you heard me say that I wish I had Yanfei in the beginning of the game because I would have mained her, and I still believe that. Yanfei is overall one of the better characters in my opinion. But like overall, I mean everything. Her story, her voice acting, her animations, her, some people would call mediocre offense. I think it's decent. And when you put Lost Prayers, it's like she's a tank as well. So she can do a little bit of everything. Does she do one thing really well? That's debatable. But would I still put her on my team? Of course. So moving on to Eula. No, I'm not going to put Eula on S tier. I thought about it. Okay, Eula is one of my favorite characters, right? Not just because she's funny as fuck, but Like when there's story quests, it's hilarious. Um, her burst is the if you buff it the right way, her elemental burst is the most powerful burst in the game. It can do over 1 million damage. And when you consider that other characters at their best can only do like 25, 50k damage with in some cases the skill and the burst, Eula, her, I don't know how to explain how ridiculous her burst is. Like, she can one shot the wolf, the domain, the trounce domain with the wolf, and no one has seen that before at the time. And I have nothing but good things to say about her. Uh, Again, like Yanfei, a very good overall character, except she excels in physical damage, and when she needs to, she can do cryo damage for like to apply like freezing and or even like melt or reverse melt. She can also do that. Um, Kazuha. Kazuha. Best anemo character in the game. One of the funnest characters to play, and just overall good story. His weapon is ridiculous. His elemental skill and bursts are ridiculous. Some people have complained that the burst blocks the sight of the screen. Hey, whatever. If I was doing that kind of fucking damage, I wouldn't care about no fucking screen. But yeah, there's nothing I can say about Kazuha that hasn't already been said. Ayaka, excuse me. Ayaka, she serves a purpose, and I think A tier fits her because she's pretty good. Um, she's not perfect. She's not S tier, but very consistent. What you expect from her is what you get, and then sometimes above those expectations. Her story is pretty good too. The dance she does in the cinematic, wow. Um, I I have considered C6ing her before. I just never got around to it. I can never justify it. But if I had unlimited crowns, unlimited resources, of course I would. Or it's close to unlimited. Yoimiya. Okay. Why in the fuck is Yoimiya an S tier? Yoimiya has the best. There's no argument about it. So far in the game, the best single target DPS in the game. Of course, her downside is she can't really do AoE except for her burst, and even her burst isn't that great. It's still AoE in my opinion. But her elemental skill, oh my god, like the speed that she shoots those fire arrows, the pyro arrows is ridiculous. I'm sorry, it's overpowered. I will say that. There's no reason why Yomi should be able to borderline solo certain bosses. I mean, just don't get hit and you just use an elemental skill. That's all you're gonna need to do. But yeah, I use Ganyu and Yoimiya, believe it or not, both bow users in the same Abyss team for the main purpose that I can apply the melt or the reverse melt. And I haven't found good support characters for them, but it's working out the way it is right now. I'm still working around certain characters, trying to figure out my best second Abyss team. My first is fine the way it is. If anything, my first is a little bit overpowered. Sayu, the taxi. What can I say? Okay, she's in C tier mainly because she can heal. What was that? The voice actress's name? Oh my god, that famous one who, the name slips my mind. She's a taxi. She can roll all over the place and heal as well. So let me put it this way: if you had no other character, would it be a good idea to build around Sayu? It's not a bad idea. It's not a great idea, but it's not a bad idea. Raiden Shogun. Again, another Archon. Wow. I bet I didn't expect that. Raiden Shogun is probably the best. Basically, with the way her energy recharge works, you're basically having non-stop bursts, at least 4 in a row of the whole party, the whole team, and you just gotta figure out which order to do the burst in for the optimal results. So like keeping the burst up, and it's pretty ridiculous. Like when she first came out, people were using her as a DPS because of her burst. Uh, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying she wasn't meant for that. You could tell by the way that the developers made her. She wasn't meant to be a DPS. Is she a good support DPS? Of course. She's one of the best support DPSs, in my opinion. Kujo Sara. Kujo Sara gets B tier mainly because she's a good support character for Raiden Shogun. She serves no other purpose besides that, but I like her character. I sort of like how she can arguably have multi best in slot weapons, so take your pick. Not a lot of time or resources need to be invested in her. I'm not saying she's a budget character. I'm saying you don't have to go overboard to get the effects, the results you need to get and want to get. You don't have to go overboard. Kokomi. Okay, so you see how Barbara is B tier, right? And you see how Diona is A tier. Kokomi at S tier. Best healer in the game so far. There is no other comparison. If you don't have Kokomi, the next best choice is Diona or Barbara. But if and when you do get Kokomi, best healer in the game, just hands down. Alloy, yeah, D tier, whatever. Why would you make a character but not give her constellations? That is ridiculous to me. Toma, well, Toma goes in C tier. I will say he's a very good pyro support, especially for Hu Tao. He has a shield, that's kind of cool. He's not a good DPS or even a support DPS. Why he was developed that way, I'm not sure why. I would have liked to have seen him be a support DPS, but the numbers are just not there, unfortunately. Ito, I'm gonna give Ito A tier. I didn't play with him that much, but he is C6. Through like it was a crazy course of events, but just trust me. He's C6, and I have him triple crown, being a C6 character. Probably, I think he's the best melee character in the game, but his elemental skill is a long range attack where he throws that fucking cow. And Ito is he was ridiculous when he first came out. Which gets me to my point. The Goro is B tier. My mouth's getting dry. Goro is the perfect support for Ito. Arguably he's the perfect support for any Geo character. I really don't have much else to say about him. His artifacts preferences are kind of weird, in my opinion. But he's only meant to be support. He will never be a good DPS. Shenhei. I'm putting Shenhei in B tier because I really liked her story, and she's a cryo support character, and she is very unique to build. Because she scales off attack, specifically attack percentage, and you don't really see a lot of characters who do that. That's why I sort of really liked her, but I never invested a lot in her. She's probably like C1, I think. Yunjin, that's her name. Also Geo character. Support Geo character, sure, I guess so. I never used her much. Her story is really good though. Yaimiko. Okay. What is the problem with Yaimiko? Let me tell you this. She just doesn't do enough damage. And I don't think she's that great of a support character unless you're applying electro to multiple targets, which some people do. Some people like using electro reactions, especially with Dendro. But we'll get to that later. Yaimiko, I'm gonna put Yaimiko in. This is a hard one for me because like I've played with her. I didn't invest a lot in her, but like she's pretty solid. She's just not great. That's the problem. I have to go C tier. I'm sorry, but I just I don't see it happening with her. Um, Ayato, one of my favorites. A C6 character. I have a 9, 12, 12, and that's mainly because I ran out of crowns. I want to save enough that I could easily do uh, the Pyro Archon's talents. Ayato goes in. I understand why some people will put him in S tier. Uh, Sometimes I've used him a lot. He's been very perennial in my Abyss teams, but that's before a certain other character came out, but we'll talk about that later. Ayato, as much as it pains me to put him in A tier, consider how much use I got of him, he's very reliable. I mean, like, you can make the argument that his defense isn't that great. This dude doesn't need defense. I mean, like, his elemental skill, his auto attack, is when you combine auto attack with elemental skill, is it is AOE melee attacks. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but like if you play him and you hold down that circle button on his elemental skill, like when he first came out, he was the definition of power creep. They needed someone strong enough to handle all the other new monsters very easily. And in my opinion, you get that with Ayato. Um, I would highly recommend Ayato to anyone who doesn't have him or has him and is questioning building him. Build him like slightly and see if you like it. I, in my case, I really liked it. I invested more in him, and I was like, I have no regrets. If I ever need another Hydro DPS, he will be second in command. He will be second in chain of command, the food chain. Yelan. Okay, I admit that I did not play Yelan that much, and like her story was pretty cool. Her personality was pretty cool, and I just, I maybe I was playing her wrong, but like she just play wise, it wasn't doing it for me. And I do not have her at C6. I know that's blasphemy. I don't have her triple crowned. I just didn't go aboard that hype train. Like that hype train was not partaken by me. Kuki Shinobu. I would say she goes in B tier. Kuki can belong in B tier, and I'll tell you why. She's an electro character that can heal. You don't see that much in this game. I'm just saying. She sacrifices her HP as well, which is not a big deal, despite what some people think. Um, her her bursts could be a little bit better, but she's very very you get what you put into her. Let me put it that way. If you invest in her a lot, she'll be great. If you don't, you're probably never gonna play her. Hazel. I'll put Hazel B tier as well. Hazel is one of the funner characters. He's basically the first and maybe only character in the game that can do melee damage with a catalyst, and he's just a very fun Anemo character, and his story was okay. Um, he's very unique, and he has this like charge punch thing that's pretty cool. I didn't go that far into him, but from the time that I was doing his friendship thing, I enjoyed him. He's a pretty fun character. Tainari, a standard banner character, which I unintentionally C6'd, and I don't like him. I I don't understand his charge bow attack. I I don't really know what's going on with his burst. I don't think I remember it because I played him so little. I don't get what the hype around him is. I don't get it. Um, he's just I really didn't like his story either. I don't really like his character. And do I have his weapon on, his signature weapon on him? Yeah. But did I go R5 with that shit? No. So it is what it is. What was this girl's name again? Oh my god, I forgot it. But anyway, she's a Dendro character that is she's like the Dendro Barbara, and except Colette, that's her name. Except she's actually pretty decent, and like I enjoyed my time using her. Will I ever use her again? Probably not. Dory. What the fuck were they thinking when they made this character, y'all? Like she's kind of cool with you don't see animations like that with any other character, but nah, she's. I don't want to say she's trash, but she's trash. This guy whose name escapes me, Electro 5-star. This is probably one of the not so great 5-stars, but he is unique in the sense that his burst is the longest lasting burst in a game, and that's not just with energy recharge. That's with his entire fucking kit. I forgot what her name is as well. She's she Geo? No, wait, she's Hydro, right? I don't remember. She has like a shield. Yeah, she's Hydro. Not like a shield, like the defense kind, but like an actual buckler. And she attacks with it, which is kind of cool. You don't equip it, obviously. You equip her weapon, of course, but I didn't really like her. I didn't like her. I friendship her, don't really like her. I forget her name, but okay. So here's the thing. She's in B tier for one main reason. Her character design, in my opinion, is fucking gorgeous. Is fucking amazing. Like I've seen like fan art and animations and like desktop wallpapers, thumbnails. She looks good in every single fucking one, man. And like, she's not a great character, but like, I don't think there's anything wrong with making her one of the better supports. I don't think she's strong enough to be a sub DPS or let alone a DPS at all. But what can I say? Nahida, the Dendro Archon. I was debating this a long time whether Nahida and herself deserve to be an S tier or not. Okay, let me put it this way. Nahida is the best Dendro character. That doesn't say a lot since there's not that many Dendro characters. I don't understand what's so hard to understand about that. Very good support character. She's an applier, an applicator again with Dendro. And if you pair that with Electro, that is definitely actually the strongest Electro reaction in the game. Dendro is very versatile, and I mean, if you practice it, if you understand it, she could be great. She could be S tier. I didn't really like her. Her story was amazing, holy shit, but it's very emotional too, which is pretty crazy. Layla, that's her name. I forgot her name earlier. Hydro character. I don't think there's much to say about her. Well, she was either Hydro or Cryo, but like very underwhelming. Let me put it that way. Okay, Skarmouche. Later known as the Wanderer. B tier. A lot of people would disagree with me about that. The fact that he needs a shield to not be knocked down when he's flying sort of defeats the purpose of flying, does it not? So I understand why he can be knocked out of the air. He would be too fucking powerful. The problem is if you have Zhongli and Scaramouche the Wanderer on one team, that's a little bit overpowered. Not a lot, but a little bit, in my opinion, unintentionally overpowered. And if you're getting a character like Scaramouche even after seeing or testing them in the playthrough, um, in the practice domain, you probably already have Zhongli. If not C6, then at least long enough for his shield to stay up constantly. Farzan, B tier, good support for a Wanderer. Um, good support for any animal user. An emo animal, whatever it is. This guy, what was his name? I forgot. He's the older brother of Kave and Dendro Applier, melee attacker. Um, he's gonna go in a B tier because he plays very similar to Kaching, but that's not necessarily a good thing. Just because he plays similar to another character does not make him a good character. I didn't invest that much in him. He's cool. I like the story. Yao Yao, right? Another kind of hybrid healer kind of thing. I don't remember what fucking element she was. Vision, whatever. Um, I guess C tier because she could heal. I mean, that's always nice. Deha, all right? You're gonna disagree with me on it. I know you are. You're gonna disagree with me on this. Deha, her character model alone makes her A tier. Her character model, her voice acting, her story. The only thing that sucks about her is her gameplay. I'll admit that. It's just not strong enough. Her burst is just not strong or fast enough. I have her a C5. If and when I get her a C6, that's a wrap. I, that is one character that I would not mind maining. Right now I'm maining, I was maining Zhongli for a long time. Like when I say maining, I mean put in that first spot on your team, the directional arrow. He was on up. Not because I want to main him, because with Zhongli as your number one spot, the first thing you have to do when you get in a battle, put a shield up. And then you just switch to your other characters, who are now practically invincible with a 40k HP shield. Just saying. I don't know where I got off on that. I forgot where I left off. Deha, yeah. Micah. Honestly, man, like I wanted to like Micah because he was kind of like a younger character who I could see developing later. He barely got any storyline, any story path, or story quest or whatever. I hate to say this, but he's a waste of a character. There's nothing special about him. I think he can shoot a gun or something, but hey, Navia does that better. But we'll get to her. Baizu, one of the few 4 stars in a D tier. Excuse me, not 4 star, 5 stars. They really fucked up with Baizu. He could have been great, and his shield is meant to be broken, which is kind of dumb. That's not a shield if it's supposed to break. I mean, I understand no one else's shield is comparable to Zhongli's, but what the fuck? I don't know how you're supposed to use Baizu. How do you use him? I saw some videos with him, and it's just like, is he a sub DPS? Is he a sub or dot? No, I'm just Kave. One of the better 4 stars. I would say he's a good Denjo character. He's pretty good Denjo. He's Denjo, right? Anyway, he has a suitcase. It's kind of cool. It's kind of funny. Kirara. C tier. The reason she's in C tier, not D tier, is because her mobility, like out in the field, like she can like climb up walls without using stamina. It's kind of cool, I guess. Linny, Linny, I think his name is. Linny goes in C tier as a 5 star. I never really liked him. I did not like how his charge attack on his bow sacrificed HP. I don't think there's an equivalent exchange of sacrifice. The amount of HP he loses does not compensate for the little damage that he does. In my opinion, this is my opinion. Lynette, on the other hand, okay, Lynette is higher than Linne. And I would say that because her mobility skill is ridiculous. She's the only character that I know of that can go stealth. Yelan can sort of do it, but Lynette, like the speed boost, the element of surprise, the invincibility, like is very unique, and I really liked playing her when I was friendshipping her. Freminette, yeah, Freminette. Is anybody using this fucking character? I feel like nobody uses this dude, and like, I feel like he was just thrown into the story, and it. I just don't understand his purpose. Nouvellette. As you saw, there's no hesitation on it. So get this. I have Nouvellette at C1. There's 5 more constellations for me to get, which is in the second phase of the next banner after Tuesday, when it comes out on Tuesday. So I'm going to try to save up some funds for him. I do want to get him to C6. Whether that actually happens, I'm not sure. It depends how many 50-50s I win or lose. At C1, Nouvellette is my most powerful offensive character. His crit rate percentage is like 45%, and his crit damage is at like 235%. One of Nouvellette's passives is he can increase his critical hit chance by 15% up to. So you just turned him into 60% crit rate and 235%, whatever it was, crit damage character with a fucking Kamehameha. Like, his auto attack is basically useless unless you want to build up some energy. But you can use his Hydro Cannon, whatever, after you use his Elemental Skill right away, after you use his Elemental Burst right away, and if you really wanted to, you could charge it, which takes a really long time. That's why I only do the 2. I have cleared domains with him single-handedly. I didn't even need to switch to the other. I could probably solo domains with this dude, and like, he does sacrifice life like a Fontaine character, but he makes up for it very easily. And like, I don't know how he does it in his kit. All I know is that sometimes when I put the burst on, he gets healed. I think it's those little orb things. Rethel, how do you say it? Rethlessy? I don't know. Cool story. Kind of cool melee attacks. He does use a catalyst, so he applies cryo very easily. I haven't friendship him yet, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna be fun. I have played him, of course, like in the test domain. Just randomly out in a few in certain domains as well. I think he's only at C0 for me now that I think about it. If I built him, he would be pretty good. I have no desire to make all these fucking catalyst users, but it's hard, because they can apply their vision so easily. Farina. Archon. Not a main DPS, a very good sub DPS. By the way, not to interrupt here, the Pyro Archon will be a main DPS. That's my prediction. My speculation is that the Pyro Archon will be the only main DPS Archon in the entire game. I think the Cryo Archon, whether that be the Harbinger leader or not, will be a support character. The only Pyro Archon, the only Archon that will be a main DPS will be the Pyro Archon. And I have suspicion that he's gonna do something with burning damage that no other character can do. Burning damage has been neglected so much, and like, people don't realize it because they don't care. Like, people don't use pyro damage for the burning effect. It's nice, but it's unnecessary. Like, how many times do you actually use the pyro damage on the grass? How many times do you touch grass and use pyro damage burning? Like you blow up the exploding barrels, the red barrels. Those do pyro damage. That's basically what the Pyro Archon is going to be. He's just going to explode shit all over the place. Charlotte, I will say, I am playing with her right now, and for my current friendship team, trash. 100% trash. I don't even know how to use her elemental skill. I should probably read it. but she she's an NPC, man. She's not a main character. Like, what the fuck, man? She's a 4-star. Like, she's supposed to be an NPC, yo. Navia, I will put in A tier. I have not invested a lot in her. I have not invested a lot in the most recent characters because I just been overwhelmed by the number of C6 characters I have. Um, if I invested in Navia, she would be pretty good main DPS. Her burst is pretty cool. It follows the character around, dropping those meteors. Well, they're not meteors; they're like, bombshells, whatever. She's a pretty much bombshell right there. A lot of people compare her to Taylor Swift, because the blonde hair. I don't know. I forgot how to pronounce her name, Chevreuse or something like that. Obviously, it's French. So the thing about Chevreuse, right? She's an electro user, I think, and she shoots a gun. I don't really have that much else to say about her. Um, she will work good with Denjo characters. A lot of people liked her, and because she was so versatile, and doing reactions and shit. But like, I don't really use her. Jinwan goes in B tier, and I'll tell you why. Tenha pointed out a good thing about this, right? Every character after Nouvelette is underwhelming. In terms of Fontaine characters, the only character comparable to Nouvelette is Farina. And when you're saying that a 5-star is as good, if not better, than the Hydro Archon, that says, in my opinion, that says a lot. That's okay. Maybe he's an important character, right? He's like supposed to be the dragon or something like that. I don't know, but we're talking about Jinwan. It's cool that she could fly around and plunge and do shit like that, and she enhances other plunging characters. That's great. Gaming, right? I think Gaming goes in B tier with Jinwan, of course. Then like together they make a pretty good team. Uh, he's fun. When you consider that Shiori is about 5-star, we don't know what she does yet. I think we know that she I think she's gonna be a support character. Um, I want to say she's Geo, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about a lot of stuff with her. I stopped pre-farming characters because like it just wasn't fun, and like none of the ones I didn't pre-farm for, I don't regret, because like I didn't really use them that much anyway. It's nice to have any of these characters in reserve in case, like for certain events that you have to choose certain characters. That's fine. Um, I don't know where to put her so far, so I'm not gonna put her anywhere. But anyway, this is my tier list for my account of the characters I like, the characters that are best in terms of gameplay, and a lot of the ones that are C6. With the exception of Nouvelette, everyone in S tier is C6. Nouvelette, at some point, maybe 1 or 2 banners from now, he will be C6. I did not buy into the hype that Nouvelette was that great until I played him. And then I was like, holy shit. Like, at the time, I wasn't ready to invest in him all the way. I think now is the time. The second phase of the next banner, 4.5, I'm going to try to get as many constellations of him as I can. He's just, I'm not going to R5 him. Who the fuck R5s? C6, R1. I think he's going to be pretty unstoppable. You combine him with Zhongli. You combine him with Kazuha. You fucking combine him even with Farina. Like, this dude is ridiculous. He's probably the most, offensively, he's the most powerful character in the game right now. And defensively, of course, the the best defense is Zhongli. Now, the best hybrid character, I would say, is probably. I don't know. That's a hard one for me, actually. The best hybrid character I would say is maybe Ganyu, because she does have that defense with the lotus or whatever, the flower, um, which is also partly offensive as well. Which is, you don't see that a lot. Um, I was gonna say Kazuha, but Kazuha is in a category of all his own. No one does what Kazuha does better than Kazuha, and there's nothing but good things I can say about Kazuha. Um, Diluc will always be my number one spot. If I need reliability, if I need to kill some shit, Diluc is always there. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say about these characters. Oh, the cool thing about Shiori, supposedly, if she's in the air, you can actually swap characters while in the air, and you can't do that with any other character yet, except for her now. So again, another plunging thing. They're focusing a lot on the plunging right now, and I don't think that's a good thing. That's just me though. Like one here and there, I would just spread it out more. Um, oh, Gaming has a really cool story, by the way. I'm not sure if you guys noticed. I know a lot of people don't read all the story shit. Like sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Um, if I'm not really interested in a character, I'll just fucking mash the skip button. Otherwise, yeah, I would say I have more average characters than I do shitty ones. I have more average characters than I do than groundbreaking ones. And that's the way my list is. Alright, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I know there's a lot of characters on there who I do not have C6, who should be C6, especially some of the 5 stars. I understand that. That's that's your criticism. That's not mine. If you would like to comment about this, let me know. This is the only time I said if you want to comment about this, because I'm very interested in people's comments about this game. And the characters are the way the characters are that I like them. I have no regrets on any of these characters. Do I regret investing as much? Oh, by the way, all my characters have level 20 artifacts. I willingly did that and intentionally. Um, I think it's kind of fun, to be honest, doing the grind and like gambling the substats. I just think it's fun. I don't know how to explain it. Um, but alright, guys, take care of yourselves and each other. Happy gaming, like gaming, happy gaming.